be accountable for what you say. And Joe, I heard you earlier when you said speaking of crying wide receivers. So we're gonna talk about wide receivers being divas. I mean, Jamar Chase could have been a diva, but he like, look, I'm gonna just go out here and ball out. Y'all want to play around? I'm gonna go out here and ball out. Jetta said I got hurt, but they paid me, so I'm gonna just ball out. CD's had his moments on the sideline where he wants to pout and say I'm open. Got people trying to read his lips and stuff like that. Then you go back and think about Dez Bryant flipping out on the sideline. That's a lot of Cowboys that I'm about to start talking about. T.O., he was an Eagle, 49. Man, Dave, we all done had a good year with T.O. You know what I mean?
We've had a diva somewhere, man. A diva somewhere.
Then we had Debo just trying to, pick up his teammates after they missed field goals. We all done had a moment with a wide receiver on the sideline, But one wide receiver was asked a question, and this question spiraled out of control. So I'm gonna start off with the reason, then we're gonna talk about the reaction.
Okay.
And Kev, I'm glad you're here. So while you all going through the comments, I'm gonna get this video queued up. Okay. No. We gotta bring there we go. Accountability is what we're talking about. And action.
Good enough. What are some things you think that the offense needs to improve on? Passing.
AJ, I know everybody wants to get in a rhythm. And Devontae was acknowledging that. Receivers, just like running backs, want to get in a rhythm. How hard is it as a receiver to get into a rhythm when you guys are only throwing the ball like 20 times?
Incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. I only stopped because there was a lot of music in the background, and we try and get paid on this platform. So this started some commotion in the locker room, and then another vet had to come out and say something.
That's complaining need to be accountable, and I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he noticed. I don't know the whole story, but I know that one is trying, and I mean, 11 could be a little better with how he respond to things, and they was friends before this. It's like, man, but things have changed, and I understand that because life happens, but it's the business side that we have to make sure that we don't let the personal get in the way of the business, and that's what we got to do better as right now.
Now, we played A.J. Brown, and we played Brandon Graham. Kev, if you want to call in, let us know. We'll send you the link so we can play what you have to say as well. But, fellas, we got to react to what Brandon Graham had to say about A.J. Brown. Dave?
Like I said earlier, it looks like there's trouble in paradise. You would think that winning cures all, but clearly it does not. There was another video circling around with not just AJ Brown, but AJ Brown and Devontae Smith talking to each other on the bench. One thing I'll say about this team is they have been one of the most dominant teams with the last 10 weeks. They've won 10 straight games. They're 10-2, 11-2. They are one of the best teams in the NFL. They're number 2 in the NFC right now. And they've been winning games, whether it was close, whether it was a blowout, doesn't matter. They've been winning. And it's been led by their defense and by their running game. The one thing that has been kind of sort of missing, I won't even say really missing, but it hasn't really been there, is the passing game. And one thing is, we've had conversations about Jalen Hurts. Is he a top 5 quarterback? Is he top 10? Is it Hurts or bust? We know he gets touchdowns with the touch push, but how is it when it comes to passing? Is he accurate? Is he good when it comes to throwing up the middle with the deep ball? What is going on with this offense? He has 2 dynamic wide receivers out there and a really good tight end. You got Dallas Goedert out there who needs targets. You got AJ Brown and you got Devontae Smith. And you got Saquon. There needs to be a healthy balance of everything. And there really hasn't really been a healthy balance. The Eagles' offense is 31st in the league in passing. You wouldn't have thought that when it comes to this team. 31st in passing with the guy who was considered top 5 in the NFL as a quarterback, a guy who was all-pro at once. He was in the MVP conversation. And some people were trying to put him in the MVP conversation now. And I'm like, I don't understand why, because the passing game is now where it needs to be. Now get me wrong, he's running well. He's a really good running quarterback, and that's not to say he's not a good passer, but right now the passing game is not where it needs to be, especially when it comes to certain games where you think that they would be able to take charge and have a really good passing game against defenses that aren't really that good. So I think that they need to find a way to find out a healthy balance of having the pass game and the run. The run is supposed to help set up the pass. Saquon is having an outstanding season. He could definitely break the record right now. He probably would, and if it wasn't for the tush push, he would have 22. He would have 21 touchdowns right now running the ball. But he got stopped at the goal. He got stopped at the goal line at the 1 yard line 11 times. We can't fault Jalen Hurts for him not scoring the touchdown when he was supposed to. But I'll say this, man. I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to do to be able to fix it, but I feel like the next game they're just going to force feed AJ Brown. And is that really going to lead to success? Because you still have Devontae Smith, you still got Dallas Goedert. You got to get everybody involved. And the thing is with wide receivers, they want to be able to be. They want to feel like they're a part of the game as well. Like Jamar Chase, I'm always open. Jettis is probably the only guy that I've never really heard say anything about him being involved. I mean, because he's the best wide receiver on that team, so he's involved almost all the time. But Debo has even had a situation just recently talking about him. He's not getting targets. But the thing is what you're doing leading to winning? What matters more? Is it getting passes more? Is it getting more catches? Or is it winning? Saquon is the one person who I think most people will understand if he would be upset because he's not getting the touchdowns. But Saquon just came from the Giants. He's not used to winning, so he doesn't care. He wants to get this winning out the way. So, and Brandon Graham to be in that locker room to say something, then that means he feels a certain way too. He sees what we see. So, am I going to go off of what the reporter said, or am I going to go off the guy who's actually in that locker room? I'm going to listen to the guy that's in the locker room. So, I'm just going off of what the guy in the locker room said.
You said they're 31st in passing?
They're 31st in passing in the entire NFL.
Now I'm in a conflicting spot. That's all Kellen like to do is throw the ball, man. And you told me they 31st in passing? Then you got Brandon Graham up here saying this. I'm in a conflicting spot, man. I don't know what's going on with the season. The Cowboys don't look good. The Commanders may be moving back to DC, and I got to agree with Brandon Graham. What is this season coming to? And then Josh Allen might win MVP. I don't understand. Hold up, Joe. You look like you seen something. Oh, I thought you seen the stat. But to go back to what he was saying, there was so many underlying tones of what Brandon Graham said in that. And Mark, you funny too, because I noticed that when AJ Brown was like, what's wrong with the passing? And he was like, he could have said, what's wrong with the traffic? What's wrong with the stadium? Like, what's wrong with any? He just went straight to passing. And to get 20 attempts in a game, when you got Saquon Barkley to your team, the first thing you should have thought about was they're going to run the ball some more. Because that's the one thing that the Eagles are actually, that's what your team is built on, running the ball. All 3 years that you all have been successful has been through the run game. Your quarterback has been feeding off of it. We all know what the RPO represents and how it presents the openness of what happened. It helps the flow, like Dave said. You all run to pass, not pass to run like some other teams. And telling you the fact that Kellen Moore is not getting this man the ball is upsetting me. But then you also got to think about it like this, though, AJ Brown. You did miss some games. So that right there is probably a reason why the offense isn't flowing through you like it probably would have early in the season. Because in that Packers game, it was a good balance. And the next thing you know, after you got hurt, they had to lean more towards on Saquon. And they seen that, hey, this is how we are going to get out of games. Because eventually Smitty got hurt. Then Dallas Goedert got hurt. Go back to the Tampa Bay game, and you look at it like that. It was literally just Hurts, Saquon, Dotson, and some other guys. So they had to build off of something, and they seen their success after that game because the Bucs made sure y'all didn't get 0 yards for like almost 3 quarters. But that's just me taking my shots. Outside of that, Brandon Graham knows a little bit more about their relationship inside the locker room, Kev. I understand what you're saying in the comments about how they're doing all these things. But again, if we are co-workers and we work in the same building every day, when I come home, whatever I tell my wife when I come home is what she's going to hear from me. But if a coworker was to meet my wife at happy hour and tell her what's actually going on at work, they see the relationship between two people for 8 hours a day or 13 hours a day. And Brandon Graham's been around some fractured locker rooms. He's been around the best of the locker rooms. Y'all won a Super Bowl, the Nick Foles, Carson Wentz situation. So he can see the development between the two of you. and it's probably not the same. But again, friends fall out all the time, but that ain't got nothing to do with winning games. So do I think Brandon Graham? And yes, he did come out and apologize for saying what he said on there. But Carl, you all right? You get an old head on the microphone, and a situation where they feel comfortable, they gonna tell you what's really going on, and that's just what it is. 11, y'all winning, man. Suck it up.
Joe, before you go, I kind of want to answer Kev's question. So he want to know what Hurts' completion percentage is. It's 68.3, but he's 20th in yards. He's 14th in touchdown passes right now. So we got to look at that as well. It's not just a completion percentage. You got to look at the entire picture.
68 is actually not bad. 68%. Yeah. Okay. So look, first of all, I want to say I'm shocked that a veteran like Brandon Graham would come out and say that. Let me start there. Like, you don't know no better? You don't think people want to take what you said and like go crazy with it? Like, come on. Like, I'm surprised he did that. So that was very irresponsible by him. Let me start by saying that. Number two, I think this goes both ways. I do think Jalen Hurts can be more accurate when it comes to AJ Brown. I do think Jalen Hurts does miss Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown. AJ Brown. But I also believe AJ Brown is crying too much. So listen to this, y'all. AJ Brown, it's a crazy stat for y'all. AJ Brown, right now, AJ Brown is, I got it right here, sorry. AJ Brown is 43rd in the NFL right now in targets per game. Now, we know he missed some games, so I had to do per game. But what my boy Kev always say, context matters. Did y'all know the Eagles throw the ball less than anybody in the NFL? They throw the ball 25 times a game. Number two are the Green Bay Packers at 28. And that's a 3-pass difference. Jacksonville is 19th at 31st. So, like, look at the difference between 3 passes, 31 and 28. That's from 31 over to 19. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are 3 passes less than the team ahead of them. That's crazy. They barely throw the ball. So let's do about percentages. Justin Jefferson, he's getting the ball 40% of the time. Every time Sam Darnold drops back, 40% of the time, he'll throw the Jets. All right, that's a lot. Jamar Chase, 25%. Y'all ain't know that, did y'all? 25%.
It's a huge drop.
25% of the time when Joe Burrow drops back is going to Jamar Chase. Terry McLaurin, 24%. AJ Brown, 29%. He's got a better chance of getting the ball more than Terry McLaurin and Chase and Jamar Chase. Stop. Yeah, he getting 20. He leads his team in targets. He missed 3 games. So my whole thing is they have shifted. I disagree with you, Dave, when you said they have a healthy balance. They have a healthy strategy right now. They need to stick to what they're already doing. Run the ball heavy. Jalen Hurts is running the ball a lot more this year too, and that's been doing well for the Eagles. Keep doing what you're doing. AJ Brown gonna have to just stop crying, and Jalen Hurts gonna have to play better. Got to play better. Now I understand he did say that it's hard to get into a rhythm when you're barely throwing the ball. That is true, and it's frustrating because the minimum moments you had to actually be an impact on the game, Jalen Hurts is missing you. I understand that. Like me and Javon talked this earlier, the TD he threw on the outside, it was in the red zone. He had AJ Brown right in front of him on his favorite route, right on the car, like literally. And then he didn't throw to AJ Brown. He threw it to I think it was Devontae Smith. Due to Devontae Smith. So I think that it goes both ways. I do think it's bigger than what the media is making it, because Nick Sirianni did come out and he did respond to reporters, and he said that they eat lunch every day together. Like they still friends, basically.
I got on the golf cart, Nick. We don't believe that.
Exactly. It's like when it comes to Eagles, you can't believe nothing when it comes to this stuff. But I do think like AJ Brown gotta think, like he gotta respond to the media better. You can't be doing that. Like he responded so fast. What's the problem? Passing. I'm like, dang. He ain't say the passing. Like he said passing. Like that sounds like Hurts. And then he said the passing game. He said like Hurts. You know. And then so I think they gotta do a better job of communicating with the media, because you know how the media, especially in Philly, they're gonna blow it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that part. I agree. And with the target percentage, yeah, it's I didn't know that 29%. That's huge.
29.
But yeah, that's one thing that a lot of players got to stop doing. They got to be able to handle media a lot better, man. That's one thing that a lot of players got to do, especially AJ Brown. AJ Brown has been in Philly long enough to know that there's certain things he can't say or do when it comes to the media, because Philly media is just like, it's like the New York media. It's like you got to be careful what you say, especially when you know it. And then you got to look at who you talking about. This is supposed to be your best friend that you came to play with. You know, this is a guy that's your guy. That's your man. That's that's the one you hang out with all the time. Like you said, they say you eat lunch together. You do everything together. That's your guy. That's the guy who's going to feed you the ball. That's the guy who's going to throw you the ball. So you got to be careful of how you portray how he is playing as a player. But when I say healthy balance, I'm not saying they need to throw it 10 more times. Just throw it a couple more times. Just make sure that you get him involved in the game early.
Yeah.
You know, he want to get in rhythm, so get him involved a little early.
Right. And I just want to touch on one thing, because this goes back to what happened last year when he walked out of the locker room and said he didn't want to talk to the media, is because of how they're going to blow things out of proportion. And it's like, well, if you knew that last year, why would you then come back and then answer the question that way? That's why when Kev said what he said in the R2L chat about the mental aspect of it, I was like, no, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, he just don't want to talk to him because he know what he's going to say. And now he's talking to him. And he's probably like, see, this is why I don't talk to y'all, because as soon as I say something, I was like, yeah, let me ask the question first. They do it on Family Feud all the time. If you answer before you finish the question, now you got to answer the question with anything, and then the rest of the question would be something crazy. And you just sitting up there looking like, I didn't think that, Steve. So look, that's all I'm saying. And media training, they don't need it, Dave. They all do podcasts now. They just gonna talk about it on their own show. Shout out to Mike. I can't wait to go listen to what he got to say. But we got two more topics for y'all. We got one. Well, these next two topics are Dave centric.
Can I announce a baseball signing real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Right-hander Nathan Eovaldi and the Texas Rangers are in agreement on a 3-year, $75 million contract.
And the Rangers?
Yep.
Dang. Shout out to BWT.
That baseball money different, man. Shout out to BWT, man.
Shout out to Juan Soto. Oof.
How you gonna say shout out BWT then Juan Soto? Yo,
the contract, you said baseball money.
Disrespectful, but
that's why I left it alone. That's why I said baseball money different. I wasn't trying to do that. Steady somewhere.
But hey, the Yankees got Max Fried. They got him, so they got somebody else. 8 year, $218 million. So they good.
I mean, Juan Soto different, though.
That's 750. That's 750.
765, right, Dave?
765. It is.
Yeah, 15 years, 765, $75 million signing bonus.
It's 51.
51 a year for 15 years.
In New York, so that's probably like either way. Let me see.
Dang,
New York.
York,
So he probably looking at at least about